All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast, brought to you each and every day this year by Ventum Bikes. My road bike, my NS1, I love this thing. I don't know if we've seen pictures of it. We'll pull up some pictures later, but custom paint job, custom WeDo paint job. Thing rides like a dream. Super light, super stiff, super reliable. My favorite bike they make, to be honest, is the GS1, my gravel bike, which I love to ride. You know, I actually ride it on single track, which is crazy. But these guys are crushing. D and his crew. Special offer for our listeners, 10% off if you go to ventumracing.com, and the code there is WeDo. If you don't get the bike within 3 weeks, it's another 10% off. Check it out. They're making a hell of a whip. We were talking about stage 11. How's our friend Alain doing?
Stage 11, from Albertville to Col du Granon, Serre Chevalier. From Albertville to Col du Granon, Serre Chevalier.
I mean, thank God for Alain. Apparently, this is not a climb that we ever did, right?
Nope.
And just to set this up for the listener, this is a part of the Alps where there's a lot of climbs. Obviously, they went over the Galibier. You're right there, as typically we would finish in Briançon, or a lot of days at the bottom of the Galibier, you can go right and they'll finish on Alpe d'Huez. They're all right there. The fact that we never even rode this climb is crazy. Typically, we just keep going straight. They hang a left, and they've got this nasty climb that Alain just described. Haven't done it since 1983. And in all the years that we waited, it was for a reason. I mean, this shit blew up today. Tadej Pogacar, we're going to get into it, but this was a different guy. Jonas Vingegaard, I think, was what we expected. Something was wrong or is wrong with Tadej Pogacar.
Or we just found out that he's human.
Look, all of these guys are human. This is the point. And again, I think I really want to break this down. This is why you don't play with these guys. They're all good. I mean, Vingegaard's good. Jumbo-Visma is incredible. Geraint Thomas is starting to look good. You just don't mess with these guys like that. I mean, they're all human. So We'll get to that in a second. Today's show also brought to you by Roca. Rob and his crew down in Austin, Texas. Love what they're building. Watching this brand grow over the years, not just on the sunglass side, the prescription side, complete game changer. I just feel like I should wear my titanium aviators for this read because everything is going on today. Look at me. The Aveeno in the hair is working. See that little flip, G? Look at these aviators. You would straight up buy these right now the way I look.
I would.
You would. And the other thing I love about Rob and the crew is they push themselves. So they not only make great product, test great product, they push themselves and they put it through the paces. I love them. Head on over to roca.com. That's ROKA.com. 20% off for our listeners. That's roca.com. Use the code THEMOVE. Also today brought to you by Momentous. We saw Geraint Thomas up there again. We're going to talk about his performance. Here is a loyal user of PR lotion. It works. It straight up works. It is the one thing proven to easily buffer lactic acid. There are more than 6 clinical studies on PR lotion. The U.S. military has backed this company. They are actively using it as well. 175 pro and college teams, over 75% of the NFL teams buy their products from Momentous. PR lotion is the way to go. Check this out right now. Every order gets 2 free 5-packs of PR lotion when you spend $75 or more. Just head on over to Live Momentous. That's livemomentous.com/themove. Well,
big day.
I did not see this coming.
No, like you mentioned, first real mountain stage of the Tour de France. And we knew there was going to be fireworks, but I think this went above and beyond anything we had imagined in our wildest dreams. Right. And this is going to set up for an incredible last half of the Tour de France.
So here's the thing. I think Vingegaard's the big winner, or is a winner. I think Pogacar is today's loser. The biggest winner in all of this are the fans. Like this, this was starting to. I mean, we were all sitting around, amongst ourselves, going, "God, this is going to suck. Like, this kid's just going to stomp them right away with it." And what are we going to talk about? Well, now we got a lot to talk about.
At the same time, we were sitting around saying that, we were also going, why is he sprinting for his 8th place full gas? Why is he sprinting so hard for 1 second here, 1 second there? And we're wondering, perhaps just burning a couple too many matches here. And I think we saw that happen today. I mean, we never imagined him completely coming unglued on that last climb. But even yesterday, for example, he sprinted full gas for whatever it was, 8th, 10th place. Didn't even get a second on Vingegaard, and we're just wondering, why are you doing this?
I mean, you had the question from the guy the other day.
Right, about what? Yeah, they were asking, what do you mean by burning matches?
Well,
we know it.
We kept referring to, these are you're just lighting a match. You're just lighting a match every time, and it doesn't seem, these seem like small accelerations, but they add up. Okay, and the man with the hammer came today, and gunked him right on the head. Now, whether or not look, we're not him. We're not inside the team. We don't know if he had a hunger bonk or if he just had a bad day or if he's just not the same rider when these climbs get that hard.
In the heat.
The heat, the word on the street is, which I don't believe, that the heat bothers him. But that was not the normal type.
I can't remember any time watching you sprint for a 8th or 9th place, unless you saw one of your rivals maybe getting dropped. But you're not doing some irrelevant sprint for no reason. Right. I don't remember ever seeing you do that. But we've seen him do that every day in these past couple of mountain stages, and we've been wondering why the whole time. And
psychologically, the other, your rivals go, dude, really? We got it. Okay, you're the best guy here. Looks like you're going to win pretty easily.
Not making friends.
Do you have to keep attacking, trying to gain a second or two here and there? And I'm a fan of Tadej Pogacar, and I thought he held himself incredibly well in the post-race press conference, which he would not have done, by the way, if he wasn't in the white jersey. That's the only reason we got that interview, is because he's in the white jersey. If he's not in that jersey, or if he's old enough, too old to be in the jersey, he ain't giving interviews. But he had to give that interview.
Interesting, and we'll have a piece of that in a minute. The other thing that was really of interest that we've talked about on the show many times, people ask, what do you mean when you say isolate them, attack them? Jumbo-Visma was on point. It was 5-on-1 quite often.
Breaking it down from from the halfway up the Telegraph, which we were discussing this climb yesterday, is never ending. You climb for 12 kilometers, you go downhill for 2 or 3 kilometers, back up for 10K roughly. And it is one of the longest climbs in the Tour de France.
Yep.
You saw these guys from the start of the Telegraph with two UAE guys off the back. And what happens, like we mentioned yesterday, the shark starts circling and smelling blood. Mm-hmm. And we saw Thies Benoot do an attack with a couple K to the top of the Telegraph. Then Roglic attacking over the Telegraph, and all of a sudden it's just Roglic, Vingegaard, Geraint Thomas, and Pogacar. And so he's on his own, and their tag team attacking him, going through the town of Telegraph, which is it's insane knowing what's coming on the rest of that stage. Over 45, 50 kilometers to go. They're doing full red zone attacks at the bottom of the Galibier. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that. And I was actually questioning it because I'm wondering, do we really want to burn off Roglic like that? You saw him struggling later on in the climb. But perhaps they knew something we didn't, because Vingegaard had a lot left on that final climb and was able to ride away from Pogacar halfway up that climb.
They didn't have a choice, right? They had to do that. And they were helped by... after the descent of the Galibier, you come down, you get on the main highway, you hang a left towards Briançon. That is as long as the Galibier is up, that downhill is as long. You just go forever and ever and ever. It had a massive tailwind, so it was easy for them all to come back. You saw they all came back. If that's a headwind, that changes the game a little bit, but they had to. They ran the play like they should have ran the play.
Not only did they come back, but Van Aert was able to wait up for them. So here you go. You got the best, strongest guys in the world for the Valley, and they didn't even hesitate. They went straight to the front and really just raced an aggressive race, and it paid off for them at the end.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on what this means for Jumbo-Visma as a team. The morale, that was the most group effort I've seen outside of a team time trial ever.
Maybe we pull up the interview that Vingegaard was giving, and then Wout van Aert went up the final climb about as easy as he could without falling off the bike. He started the final climb with the front group and finished 17, 18 minutes down. That means you're going. And so when he finally got to the finish line, Vingegaard's given the interview. This interview and what you see as he interrupts the interview, this tells you what the morale is like within the team.
But can you believe it? Have you realized that you've won a stage of the Tour de France and that you're going to have the yellow jersey?
No, I think... it's really incredible. It's hard for me to put words on. This is what I dreamed of. Always.
That's emotion right there.
Tour,
heard that.
Now the yellow jersey is incredible.
And then here comes Wout.
Watch this.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's right. Fucking hell is right. That's that is. I mean, and that is raw emotion. Like those guys don't even know the camera's there, right? That hug is real. That emotion's real, and what is said right there, fucking hell, that is real, and that means, you know what, Mr. Momentum changed his address.
No doubt. We talked about it many times where he was the only guy that has dropped Pogacar over the last few years on Mount Ventoux last year. He had the confidence coming in, and I mentioned, as soon as we saw Vingegaard riding away from Pogacar, if I'm the director, if I'm Johan Brunel, I know what he'd be saying to the rest of the team. Y'all better go as easy as possible up this last climb, because now we're in the leading position, and I need every single bit of energy you guys can save for me right now.
But no better team to have the ball than them. I mean, I mean, at the end of the day, I do think Pogacar comes back and asserts himself. And this thing is so far from being over. But,
Agreed.
But if you had to have a team, look, Sepp Kuss, we haven't even seen Sepp Kuss yet.
Yep.
You watch now. This kid, American kid, for those who don't know, is going to be a complete rock star.
It's got to do a lot for the morale too when the teammates bury themselves, and then your GC guy delivers, or your sprinter delivers for that matter. But it's like, for the whole morale thing, it's like when they finish the job, that just has to just build.
And here's
something.
the cool thing. And George, you probably have a better perspective of this than I do. But in this day and age of having radio communication, I don't know. If Van Aert is 17 minutes down, he might have lost communication. But the whole team is listening to what's happening. Even if they're 4 or 5 minutes down, they've sat up.
Yeah.
They don't even see the race. They are listening in their earpiece as the director talks to Vingegaard, giving him time splits, giving him encouragement. Like, you're a guy riding, quote unquote, as easy as you can just to get to the finish. I've never been that guy.
Yeah, no, I've been. It's super.
It's amazing, right?
It's amazing because you put everything you have into getting someone like Lance to the final climb. You pull off, you're completely exhausted, and you don't know what's going to happen. But I'd always listen with huge interest on the radio, hearing Johan go, "Come on, Lance, they're getting so and so's getting dropped. You got 30 seconds on so and so," and you just get fired up, and you're listening to the fans, to Johan talking, and there's no better feeling than that, to know that you did your job as best as you could, but your man is actually going to finish it off for you.
We should probably roll. We have just a little bit of Pogacar post race. Now he doesn't seem intimidated.
No, it's not over yet. We know I lose today 3 minutes. Maybe tomorrow I gain 3 minutes. Let me see.
I mean,
I will keep fighting till the end.
The guy is a beast.
By the way, it's hard to not, you got to cheer for that.
Well, I think you made a really good observation during the morning. Can we show that picture of Pogacar? The first thing,
Just before the last climb, he was all smiles.
well, not this one, the other
it's
one
coming.
with the okay. Well, I want to say the Lance just rolled out of bed
Right there.
First thing he says is like, "Man, he looks salty," which is a great point. So clearly he has gone really deep on the Galibier, as discussed earlier. He went really hard on the Telegraph with the tag team attacks between Roglic and Vingegaard. And man, he paid for it dearly on that last climb.
he did.
We haven't seen that from him yet.
But what was interesting to me, that those photos where he was smiling and mugging with the camera was right before that last climb. So he thought everything was fine. Like, that's how quickly it can unravel.
We don't know what he was thinking. He was having a little fun there, smiling at the camera, giving it a little vroom vroom, basically saying, "Hey, these guys are flying." We don't know what he's thinking. I mean, the warning lights start to come on, right? Whether you're not you missed mistimed or messed up the fueling. But he might have started to know, okay, this I might be in a little trouble here. Let me try to just minimize the damage, which he didn't do.
Or even try to bluff the cameras because the directors are watching the TV. So the other directors are saying, "Oh, he's kind of smiling and laughing." But meanwhile, we don't know what's going on in his head going, "Shit, I'm not in a good place here. And I need these guys to think that I am in a good place." So he'd have his guys like Micah set a pace that he can ride at. But Vingegaard, he sensed it. He even said in his interview that Pogacar had him on the limit at the top of the Galibier.
And you could
he was
see that.
suffering on the wheel, but just really put it all on the line there on that last climb. And
Look, it's easy to get ahead of yourself. We had this issue on Jouplan in one of those years, and you just kind of forget. Skip the gel, skip the fueling, and then all of it all adds up, and then bam, you just get hammered.
I think that's really relevant. Like, talk about what was going on in your head going up Jouplan, completely bonked, which we all know is a very, very difficult climb. Right. You got Ulrich riding away from you. Pantani just pulled off and quit the race after causing all this damage. But in your head, you had a much bigger lead than
we had almost 7 minutes before that. But you still go in a bit of a panic mode. And this is where a director really comes in handy and helpful, right? Johan said, look, basically, you are going to lose time. Just lose as little as possible. Just completely conserve, ride within yourself. Get some fuel if you can. Unfortunately, we got to a point in the race where the feeding wasn't allowed anymore from the car. So I had this Italian guy. What's that guy's name? Was it Conti?
Oh yeah, Roberto Conti.
Roberto Conti is there, and I don't know this guy from Adam. Never even talked to him in the peloton. I was like, hey, you got a gel? So you could take. I took a gel from him, and he rode me to the finish line. Got a nice Christmas present later in the year, but
so Dr. Hinckaby has a question for both of you guys. We've all
doc
been there.
Is back.
The doc is back. We've all been there. And for me, I know personally, after a huge bonk day, like I remember many times having a horrible day where you're just completely bonked, you crawl to the finish line. Typically, and I don't know if there's any validity to this, but 2 days later, you have an incredible day because I feel that your body has to super compensate for what you had just gone through. And I know that 2 days for me after a bonk in a stage race, I have felt amazing in the past. Is there anything to that? How did you feel 2 days or the next day after Duplan?
No, the next day we had a day that was not a decisive day. I did not feel good. But then the day after that, we had the long time trial, which I felt I was tired. I felt a bit empty, but I rode fast. But everybody reacts differently to that. Look, I never think a bonk like that is good. And again, we're speculating that that's what happened. We don't know. It's not normal that he would lose 3 minutes. So clearly something happened. But you deplete your glycogen like that deeply, it's very hard to refill it. I do think he does. I'd go out on a line and say the kid still wins the Tour, and again, the only winners here, or the biggest winners here, are the fans and the viewers, because this shit is about to get super real.
Yeah, it's going to get super real. And their sense and weakness right now, Jumbo is, of course, not going to be on defense now, but they're going to want to get as much time as possible because they don't want to let Pogacar recover. Because what's 2 days from now? Alpe d'Huez.
No, tomorrow's Alpe d'Huez.
Tomorrow's Alpe d'Huez?
Yeah, tomorrow's up. So
that's right. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Tomorrow the Open starts, so I'm going to have to be watching both the golf tournament and the bike race. But it is tomorrow, and this is the greatest stadium that the Tour de France can provide, even better than Mont Ventoux. This is the best stadium to watch a bike race. And so he has to come back and have, I'm not saying he has to take back time tomorrow, but he cannot lose more time. If he loses time tomorrow, he loses the Tour de France.
All right, let's say let's do a hypothetical here. Pogacar picks up the phone and calls Lance Armstrong.
Yeah,
and says,
which is not going to happen.
You saw what happened today. What do I do? What do you say to this guy?
If I'm him, like I just said, you cannot lose time tomorrow. I would even take tomorrow as a day to reset, reassess, and not lose time. Now, if he sees a moment where Vingegaard is in a crisis, then you got to go. But tomorrow is not the day to take that time back. If you look at the rest of the days after Alpe d'Huez, they are brutal. And this shit, all the way to, there's not a sprint finish until Paris. He has the time trial, which of course Vingegaard can time trial. But tomorrow's not the day to try to, get payback from today. Just wait. Minimize your losses. Do not lose time. Wait. There are plenty of opportunities, and he doesn't need 3 minutes all at one time. He can take a minute here, a minute there. He's got to wait.
Which we've seen Jumbo do up until now. We mentioned it for the last few stages. They were just following. They had the strength in numbers. They weren't doing much. I agree. We probably won't see much from Pogacar tomorrow. Try not to lose time. But again, these guys keep rewriting the playbook. Look what he's done the whole week. Look what Van Aert's done in the yellow jersey. You never know with Pogacar what he's going to do. We do know that Jumbo's team has been incredible thus far. And then all of a sudden you put the yellow jersey on top of that, they're going to be even better. And they're going to be able to ride their pace, whichever pace they want, which is clearly a very strong pace. They had 5 guys at the bottom of the last climb today. So they're going to be able to do whatever they want in terms of a defensive role. It'll just all depends on how Pogacar recovers.
And that's the better question. What do they do? What does Jumbo-Visma do? You got your foot on his neck, right?
Yeah.
Are you happy with that? Do you just also play conservative?
I try to get a little more time tomorrow.
If you got your foot on somebody's neck, you push a little harder tomorrow if you can.
Agreed.
Now, they got to evaluate it as the race goes on. But I think that's the big question is how do they respond? I mean, I know what Johan Brunel would do if we saw another opening. You just push harder.
Yep.
I think it's worth mentioning how impressive Romain Bardet looked today.
Amazing.
Could be a podium finish for him.
And Geraint Thomas. I mean, I'll fucking eat my hat. I said it. This guy's not going to be anywhere near the front.
Yeah.
You know what? LA was wrong.
And Naro Quintana looking good.
Two things to point out. Bardet did not partake in any of those full gas attacks at the bottom of the Galibier, which I feel had to have burned so much energy from these guys. Geraint Thomas did. He was following these attacks. Sure, he wasn't sprinting to them, but he still had to make the accelerations. And for him to still finish in fourth place today and be, I think, third overall, super impressive.
But Bardet's second overall.
And Bardet rode his own pace at the bottom, came back, clawed back near the top of the Galibier, got dropped again, came back in the valley, and then went super on the aggressive move on the last climb and ended up second overall.
Bardet,
incredible ride from him.
Here's a guy who was the great French hope.
Yeah.
And the pressure got to him. He said, you know what? I'm leaving a French team. I'm leaving, I don't want to be that guy. I'm going to go just sort of be a stranger in a strange land and try to reinvent myself and come back in a different way. And he's done it. I love it, man. And he was up there in the Giro too until he got sick.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, him getting sick in the Giro might have been the best thing that's happened to him in a long time.
Yeah. Today's show also brought to you by Huckberry, Andy, and Rich, and all those boys and girls down there in Austin, doing amazing work. They have we've collaborated with them. Now, a little bit of a bone to pick with the listeners because we put up the other day, we were rocking all our Huckberry stuff, and we put up a picture. Who wore it best? I mean, it wasn't even close. Now, I know the man. Look at the man. Look at the man. I mean,
I had my full Huckberry kit on yesterday at the team barbecue, and I was loving it. LA was like, "Where'd you get them pants?" I mean, he's probably going to order the same pants. Watch this tomorrow.
They are constantly evolving and curating their own, not just their own brands, but other brands, and also tons of really cool content. You should sign up for their newsletter. I don't miss one every day. I open it every day. But we created curated a cool little box for ourselves, special products. Head on over to huckberry.com/Lance. Check it out. You'll see the stuff that myself and JB and George picked to put in the box. Last one of the day brought to you by Wahoo. I mean, talk about a suite of products, right? I've got my Rival watch on. Obviously, we have the Bolt GPS on the bike, the Kicker bike that they have completely converted me from an outdoor kiddie to an indoor kiddie anywhere from October to May. My only chance to ride the bike up here in Colorado. Incredible. And the other thing too is I love seeing how much Wahoo there is in the peloton. Even teams that are not sponsored by Wahoo, you see when they unzip their jerseys on the climbs, that heart rate strap is by far the most accurate. So these guys are rocking other computers, but wearing the Wahoo strap. That says it all. Special offer for our listeners. Until July 24th, Wahoo is offering 20% off using the code THEMOVE at checkout. That's wahoofitness.com. Use the code THEMOVE for 20% off.
Before we get into talking about Outdoors tomorrow, and that's a profile you guys don't need to see on the screen, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we still need to pull it up because I have some things to point out.
Well, I feel like JB's going somewhere else.
No. I just wanted to check in on the voting with the feed and see if you guys are still. Very close.
You, people.
Wow, this is getting exciting, y'all.
What the great LL Cool J say? Don't call it a comeback.
Wow. Okay.
6 votes, motherfucker. Captain Cranky coming back. Hey, right there.
Yep.
Anybody that buys anything at thefeed.com you can make your own bottle too. And special shout out to my buddy Tom Larder for buying a too legit to quit bottle and voting for me. 6 votes. We're only halfway through the tour.
That's big. I'm going to start calling in some favorites.
That feels like you got dropped by 3 minutes. It feels like that.
You made a big move on the climb today. That's for
Mr.
sure.
Momentum.
I'm still in yellow though.
Mr. Momentum has changed his address.
All right, we do have an image of a tweet coming up, but first let's take a look at tomorrow. And you've already given some of your thoughts on what you think is going to happen tomorrow, but here's Alpe d'Huez.
Nasty.
And on a holiday, it'll be packed.
So this is where we typically finish on today's stage in Briançon. But check this out. Everything we just talked about, that long downhill that was super fast, they're just going to reverse it, right? So they're going to go back up the Loterre, back up the Galibier, down over the Telegraph, which is not a hard climb, but you don't want to be going uphill in the middle of that downhill. And then Croix de Fer, which is incredibly hard. They have it listed at 29 kilometers at 5%. That means there's a big downhill in the middle. Big parts that are just flatter downhill. It's hard. And then and then the granddaddy, Alpe d'Huez.
So-
arguably the greatest stage in the history of the Tour.
So for me personally, this is one of the hardest starts in all of cycling.
Yes.
Because you start from kilometer 0 and there's going to be, 50 to 70 guys wanting to make this breakaway. And it's not very steep at the bottom. The whole way is probably 2 to 3% up. And there's just going to be 1,000 attacks all the way up this gradual part of the low terrain up to towards the Galibier. And as a team leader or as a team that's leading the race, it is one of the most hardest things to do in all of cycling because you're just getting constantly attacked. Still have nightmares about those moments. But we're going to see a lot of aggression from the start tomorrow.
And UAE does not have the advantage of what Jumbo-Visma and even Ineos to a degree had. It doesn't matter. This idea that they send somebody up the road, it's not the same.
And let's not forget, Wout van Aert's not going up the road anymore. I mean, he's just going to be hanging back. They're going to be saving him to pull. Jumbo's in a completely different position. And they have the power and the horsepower to just ride their whatever pace they want.
You're Vingegaard. You got Wout van Aert. You got Primoz Roglic. You got Sepp Kuss. You got Kruijswijk.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Laporte. I mean,
Laporte.
these guys are all monsters.
Yeah. There's the A-team.
Okay, this is fun. This is really fun. Wait, I got this tweet from this guy, forwarded it to me, and it's translated into English from Magnus Cort from the other day. He had posted a comment about his win and how he likes to celebrate. The tweet says,
"Who's reading this?"
I know. Benny's sent this to me or whatever, but it says, translated from Magnus Cort, when I win like this, there's a small ritual. Go home, take a shower, put on Rammstein, and skip around nude. Then do the helicopter, which we're all speculating what that is. Send the video to my closest friends so they know things are going pretty well. I only do that for the big wins, though. Court.
The helicopter. Now, I read it and I'm like, I think, like I'm a dude, like I'm an immature dude. I'm like, I think I know what that is, man. Like, but none of my buddies, for the record, none of my buddies have sent me videos of themselves helicoptering.
I actually don't know what it is. Our head of HR was trying to show me, but then she realized she's head of HR and she couldn't show me. So I need to know what the helicopter is.
Oh, this could be a whole new fun little side jam. What? I don't know. What does that mean?
I wonder, in the old burlesque shows, they would get the little
viewers send us your favorite helicopter.
Just
shots.
don't send any videos of anybody helicoptering. But and the Rammstein, which I didn't know what that was, and I love metal. JB was playing some of that before the show. I was like, this might be a new listen for me. This shit was heavy.
Du hast mich. You're going to want the IROC again.
Yes.
That.
Guys, this race is just getting started. Today was jam-packed, full of action. But let's not forget, Pogacar won the Tour de France last year by 5 minutes and 30 seconds, and he's only 2 minutes and 20 behind. This couldn't be a better scenario for us as fans right now. What's shaping up?
I love jumping ahead. I'd keep doing this every day, but I mean it. If you jump ahead, tomorrow's epic. It's maybe the hardest day on the Tour. You go ahead, then the stage into Saint Etienne. This part of France is never flat. It's hotter than hell. Very hard to defend. You jump ahead another day. You have, the day into Mende. It is. Look at the profile. It is. This Tour is so hard from here on out, and we haven't even gotten to the Pyrenees yet. We're still in the Alps.
We're a long ways out.
Man.
Going to be exciting.
I didn't get the update on the time cut.
Everybody made it.
Everybody
already wrote in.
Okay,
Yep,
I know there were some guys close. I don't know. I like talking about that. Just send them home.
We do have almost 20 guys that have withdrawn or did not start the race so far. So
we're gonna have a lot more.
We'll have a lot more.
Getting hard.
Well, we have good news on Bikes for Kids Uvalde update. You guys have been very, very generous, and you're helping us get to our goal.
Jesus.
181,330.
Okay, just for context, we are halfway through the Tour. The goal for 800 bikes, $230,000. We're at 181,000. I'm feeling pretty good about how we're tracking here.
Yeah, this is good. And, anyone who buys a bike or more is invited to join us for the distribution, which is not that far away. It'll be mid-August before school starts.
Hang on, mid-August? I'm in Europe until August 21st. Can we push it back?
We'll see what we can do. Okay. Yeah, just slight detail.
That is a slight detail. I want to see.
Okay.
I love seeing any kid that first gets a bike. It changes their life.
Yep. Yeah.
And not to mention these kids who've been through, unimaginable circumstances, life-changing.
Yeah. And by the way, I did a Bikes for Kids charity for 18 years straight. And this man to my right showed up every single year.
Yeah, I love it.
Every year. And George was there too on occasion when you guys started doing camp in Austin.
Mm-hmm. Nobody knew who he was at the time.
Ouch. Wow. I wasn't even expecting that one.
No, but that was actually a really cool compliment. I mean, you have created this brand. You've created.
Oh, thank you. It didn't feel that way, but okay.
It was a long time ago. You were a young kid. You were just coming up, and now you were this entire. You were like this icon. Oh, could we rewind that and maybe delete that part?
Some shout outs to some donors here real quick. Jennifer Heikkinen, thank you for buying 2 bikes. Sarah Dingwall bought 2 bikes. Daswell Racing, that's a team out of Austin, bought 2 bikes. Friends of all of ours, Pace Ranch and Pam bought 10 bikes.
Dang, thanks, Pam.
Appreciate that. And someone you may know, Lance, you recognize Caffeinated Capital?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Raymond, thank you for buying 73 bikes, basically $20,000.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Really appreciate
amazing.
that.
Well, you talk about caffeinated,
right?
That was a triple espresso buy right there. Love that.
Really appreciate it.
So
and
kind.
you can donate at wedo.team. You'll see Bikes for Kids Uvalde in the top menu bar up there. This is interesting too, and we do have a graphic to go with this. Our listeners just do amazing stuff all the time. Eric Reinhardt put this together.
God.
He says, I'm an analyst and wanted to see how successful Johan is on his picks. I put together a dashboard that shows the results from Johan. Do you know he's right 53% of the time? And on head-to-head bets, he is 77% correct.
That's right.
I'm a longtime fan of the show. Keep the picks coming. That's from Eric in Los Angeles.
The man knows what he's talking about. By the way, his co-host of Outcomes, which of course is our sports betting show that's behind the paywall for members only over at wedo.team. But shout out to his co-host, Spencer Martin, who got, because Johan picked Pogacar. Spencer Martin, I don't know if he went out on a limb, but he picked Vingegaard. Nice work, Spencer.
Hi, We Do team. I have a quick question. Is there an American in your eyes that could realistically be a GC contender for the Tour de France in the next couple of years? Also, picking my fellow Coloradan Sepp Kuss for tomorrow's stage.
Yeah, I don't know. He has other jobs to do tomorrow.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love that idea, but he's got a big job tomorrow.
And that's from Jackson. But in the future,
You said a couple of years. The answer, unfortunately, is no. And the answer is no because we're talking about Pogacar being a go. These are young guys,
Yeah.
so they are going to be around for a while. Now, having said that, there is this crop, and George is way more dialed into this stuff than I am, but there's this crop of young Americans that are going to be there. I don't think we have to wait long as American bike racing fans until there's somebody approaching the podium. Now, let's first approach it, and then we'll figure out a way to win it.
And we take the positives thus far of the Tour de France with Nielsen Powell's almost getting the yellow jersey, Quinn Simmons and a bunch of really tough breakaways. Matteo Jorgensen, one of the strongest guys yesterday. I think we've got 7 Americans, or now 6 because we lost Van Mark in the Tour de France, more than we've had in several years. So, like I always say, progress, not perfection.
That's actually the first time I've heard you say that. I mean, there's a lot of shit you say all the time, but that one I was like, ooh.
I've said it before. If you listen to me sometimes on the show, you'd actually have heard me say that.
I like it. I don't recall it, but I like it.
Yeah, you don't recall it either.
All right. Send in any future questions for the show. TheMove@wedo.team.
And worth getting up early tomorrow. Even I.
You'll be up early tomorrow?
I think with this start over the Galibier,
Oh, man,
you got
there's gonna be fireworks.
Galibier, Qualifier, Alpe d'Huez. There's going to be fireworks. You got to get up early. I mean, which means you're going to watch this skinny guys in Lycra ride around for 4 or 5 hours. But you got to get up early. This one's going to start early. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.